Good afternoon. Here we are again to talk about bicycles and, of course, to talk about Portugal bike value. Our next panel is going to talk about Portugal bike value, industrial technology availability. We have with us Luís Pedro, General Manager from Triangles, Emre Ozgun, Carbon Team General Manager, and Kevin Main, CEO of CIE, Cycling Industries Europe. But first of all, let's have a look of what's going on with the industrial technology availability here in Portugal. So, as we can see by these graphics, we can see that Portuguese industrial production and COVID, we can say they went side by side from the last months, because when the COVID made us to stop, we had a slowing, the production industrial went slower. And we can see also then since last January it took off and it went faster. As we can see also, we have in Portugal main orange origin and main destination, Europe, and we can see that with all this situation, the growth of production, of industrial production, made a growth on our imports, and particularly industrial supplies, which is about 60.6%, and capital goods about 36.5%. On the other side, the exportation capacity grew also, mainly in industrial supplies, 55.6%, in consumption goods, 39%, and the transport equipment and accessories with 69.9%. So the Portuguese commercial scale balance is negative at this moment, because tourism has an important weight in our economy, and of course Portuguese tourism is not working as it should, as it normally would work, because of the situation, of the pandemic situation that we all know. At this moment, we do have technology, and technology is available in Portugal. We use technology, and we use a lot of technological process. For instance, we have here the biggest European factory with massive utilization of welding robots, of pressure systems, and of course temperature control temperature for painting. I'm talking about Triangles, that Luís Pedro knows it well, and we also have the first carbon frame factory outside Asia, that Emre Ozgun knows well too. So in Portugal we have technology, and we have enough technology to give good service and good products with high quality, and in a competitive and flexible way of production. So this is the main theme. Thank you very much, and let's listen Luís Pedro, Triangles General Manager. Luís Pedro, it's with you now. Luís Pedro, I think you have to connect your microphone. I don't know if you are listening to us. While Luís Pedro is trying to connect his sound, it's important also to say that most of our imports are from Europe and not from Asian countries like China, for instance. And we hope that now you can listen to us. I think you're facing a microphone problem. Okay, we are facing some problems. Luis Pedro, if you don't mind, while you're solving that problems, we go with Emre Osgunj.
Okay, so
Emre,
you hear me well?
okay. How do you do, Emre?
Yes, I'm doing fine. Thank you. Another busy day here in Carbon Team. So I'm just going to make a presentation. Okay, just a moment. I will just open here a presentation that I prepared for you guys. Okay, so you see my screen? Hello?
We do see your screen. That's great.
Okay. Okay, we start. Okay, so Carbon Team, it's a brand new factory built in Vozela region in Portugal. So our factory has an initial investment of 8.5 million euro, and out of this 2.3 million euro comes from European funding. So Carbon Team is a company founded by 5 partners. This is Rodi, Miranda, and Ciclo Fabriel. So these are Portuguese companies and already working in bicycle industry for several years. So these 3 joined together with Bike Ahead Composites in Germany and Art Collection in Taiwan, and formed Carbon Team. And why this happened? Because we have sensed from several years that, as you know, carbon fiber manufacturing in Europe, it exists, but without any capacity at all. So there was this need in Europe to produce carbon fiber frames. What is carbon fiber? Okay, carbon fiber is a material mainly coming from petroleum products. Of course, its advantages is like it's lightweight. So compared to steel and aluminum, it has a big advantage in terms of the weight. It has, although then you can reduce the weight of a product, you can also increase the mechanical resistance also of the final product, and also it's quite resistant to temperature changes and chemical substances. So, like, it doesn't have a corrosion or some metals with with temperature changes, they can react and contract, and this doesn't happen so much with carbon fiber. Disadvantages: it's very extensive labor. So this is why at the moment about more than 99% of world production of carbon fiber frames or carbon fiber products related mainly to bicycle industry comes from Asia. So where you have the labor quite cheap. So this is a disadvantage for us, and also it's difficult to control the process and the stability to have a good product. Also, in another disadvantage is the recycling issue. So, if you want to recycle carbon fiber, you have to, yeah, it's quite an expensive process to recycle. So now let's look into our carbon team process advantage. So this is yeah. So we are doing things in Portugal and in carbon team much different than the process that is found normally in Asia. So we use the autoclave process. Autoclave is like an oven where you can apply pressure, temperature, and vacuum at the same time. So this enables us to have, I mean, it's a unique step, one shot, in that we can produce our frame. So with this process, we can compact the fibers in a very unique way, and we make sure that they are all integrated together. So this due to our process is also having a much superior painting results. So when you have a standard process and compared to our process, you look at two different products, you can easily see the quality of the surface. So it's quite ready for painting. And also a very, very important aspect of our process, it's we can produce 100% real monocoque frames. So it's one mold, one shot, and the frame comes out just as it's seen in the picture here. So no gluing, no sub-assemblies, no anything. So it's one-shot process. When you have this kind of process, which is totally different than what we see in Asia and what we know how it's done in Asia, so we can have a mechanical resistance, superior mechanical resistance, and in the joint areas where normally you have to increase the the thickness or put more material to support these fragile areas. We don't need to do this due to our process. So we have really light, very ultra light weight. So that's what the carbon team process advantage. So this is our frame. It's a 29-inch hardtail frame. Like I said, it's super lightweight. It's 775 grams in M size, which puts our frame one of the lightest in the world. Yeah, we had already spoken about the surface quality, and already we are receiving incredible positive response and feedback from all worldwide brands that we know of when they receive our samples. And although it's one of the lightest, it already passed all laboratorial tests here in Europe, and it's ready to ride, enrolled. So Carbon Team not only has the technologically most advanced processes, and which results in an incredible quality product. We sustain also this product with a highly automated factory, which has its principles as Industry 4.0 principles. So our objective has to have zero paper here in Carbon Team, and to be able to trace back 100% of each frame, each ply that we apply in our frames. So we trace product, we trace people who did it, all the components, machine parameters, and so on. So this gives us also a big base to be able to do all the time the same quality at the same weight and at the at a repeatable way. Um, so, as for our next challenges here at Carbon Team, it's I would focus on three subjects, which is the ramp up process. So, as I told you, we are a brand new company, so we are ramping up our production. So the objective is to start the fourth quarter of 2022 by a rhythm of about 25,000 frames per year, and then going up to 55K and then 110K. So it's pretty good numbers for a carbon fiber factory, which is starting right now. But we believe that with all the qualities that we have, this will be possible, as we have a lot of already coming up projects. Second challenge will be automatization. So we need to automatize all our processes using core robots and robotized processes to make the repetitive the work much easier, of course. And the third will be recycling. So we are already investigating like thermoplastics or using green fibers in our processes. So for the moment, that's it. What I wanted to give you a little bit information about Carbon Team. So then I'm open to questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Emre Osgunt. Now we are going to listen Luis Pedro, General Manager of Triangles. Luis Pedro, welcome. Now I think, yes, we can listen to you perfectly. So welcome.
I hope so. So welcome to and good afternoon to everybody. So my name is Luis Pedro and I'm the General Manager of Triangles. So right now I'm talk a little bit about Triangles. Triangles was founded in 15. It's located in Agda, in the region of the Bike Valley, Portugal, with an investment of 35 million euros, with 100% of Portuguese funds. Right now, we have about 22,000 square meters of covered area on Triangles. So our main business or our core business, it's the production of aluminum e-bike frames. We use mainly alloy 6061, that it's 100% recyclable, and it's very important for us, for Triangles, and it's one thing that it's also very important for everybody that are riding bicycles and so on. So the aluminum, it's a lightweight and a low thickness material, so have a very good characteristics and fantastic characteristics for the bike production and also for riding. So Triangles have a capacity to produce around 250,000 e-bikes frames a year. We were the first worldwide plant with automated production for bike frames. Actually, we already have about 30 welding robots, and it's our core process on triangles. We were the first plant in the world welding aluminum frames by robot. We also have other processes like CNC. We already have about 14 CNC machines, laser cutting, hydroforming, heat treatments, a robotized liquid paint shop. We have also a quality lab to perform all the ISO tests according to the bike norms. We also have a department with already with around 10 engineers working and developing frames and the process and so on. And so also very important for us and for our organization, it's the rationalization of the energy. Right now we already have about 1,000 photovoltaic panels installed with a capacity of production of 270 kilowatts. And till today, till we started the production, till today, we already saved around 500 tons of CO2, and it's equivalent to planting around 10,000 trees and 2 million of traveled kilometers. This is also it's also when triangles look for the future, of course, and it's very important for us and for our organization to talk more and more and to implement measures and also the culture around the sustainability. For our organization and for triangles, it's really important. And looking a little bit for the future, we will perform new investments in order to increase our capacity in more 50,000 frames a year. We already bought more welding robots, more heat treatments, more CNC machines, laser cutting, grinding robots. It's also, we were the first plant using robots to grind frames. It's before that, everybody that need to perform that kind of operations did that kind of operations by hand. We will increase our shop floor area in 1,800 square meters, and we also are investing a lot in our digitalization, our plant. That means 100% of traceability of the complete process, and we want to be a paper-free plant also. So, as I said before, Triangles was founded in 215, but our first production, mass production, occurred by the end of 16, beginning of 17. So in 17, Triangles started the production. In 18, we start the e-bike production with 2 models. In 20, we achieved a milestone of around 100,000 frames produced in 1 year, already with 4 e-bike models. And in 21, today, this year, we will achieve 180,000 frames already with 8 e-bike models. In 22, we achieved the milestone of 200,000 e-bike frames, and in model year 23-24, we will achieve a big milestone that we will achieve 250,000 frames, 100% e-bike frames that we will produce. So if we look for the production figures since we start, we are increasing year over year. And according, as I said before, in 22 we will achieve around 200,000 frames produced by year. And the turnover also we are increasing. That means in 21 this year we will achieve around or more than 15 million euros of turnover, and in 22 we will have a turnover about 35 million euros. So thank you everybody for for seeing my presentation. If you have any question, I will be available to answer to any doubt.
For sure. Now we are going to start with questions and answers, and of course, I have the first answer to Emre Özgun's. We've been talking about green preoccupations, if we can say so, ecological preoccupations, and of course, carbon fiber is made out of petrol, as you said in your during your presentation. What kind of other origins can we get to make carbon fiber?
So we actually carbon fiber. We have to change the from carbon fiber to other fibers like nature. There are some natural fibers like cotton, linen. I mean, even you use some basalt, which is a volcanic. When a volcano erupts and what is left after. So even from that, some people make some natural fibers. Okay, so this is what we are investigating, of course, and we will be doing soon some tests to see the performance of these fibers and if they can substitute the carbon fiber resistance and mechanical properties. And also there is another issue that is like using thermoplastics. So thermoplastics are like much easier to recycle. So this is also something that we are onto, but the production methods are totally different. So in terms of green fibers, we can use our processes directly, and in terms of thermoplastic processes, then more investments that we need to make. So, but everything at the moment is so we are following this issue on a weekly basis. But of course, that is one of our preoccupations to be greener every day.
Thank you very much, Emre. And Luis Pedro, we've been talking a lot about automation and high-tech way of construction of and welding and painting and so on, and mainly of frame construction. So, what were the biggest challenges that you have to face during the implementation of your factory?
Yeah, during the implementation of our factory, okay, we implemented a complete new process. Nobody in the world did that until now. So at the very beginning, it was very challenging for us because okay, between the material, the aluminum, the process, the tube preparation, everything, to combine all the technologies, all the materials and everything. So it was a big challenge for us, and our team on Triangles, we needed to develop the know-how and the process in order to achieve not only a good product, also to achieve a very, very good product with a quality standard better than the Asian products. So the big challenge was that it was the process development of the robot welding, the tube preparation, the combination with welding or the robot welding and the alloy 6061. So it was the knowledge that we here on Triangles and our suppliers and our customers, everybody together developed the full process and obtain the knowledge or the knowledge enough in order to achieve our goal at the end. So it was our main challenge.
Yes, thank you very much, Luis Pedro. Emre Ozguns, I'm back to you. And I'd like to know how difficult it was to make a factory, to put it working in a region like Vozela, where you don't have, I think outside Asia, you didn't have the capacity or the knowledge, that's the word that I was looking for, to build this kind of frames. Was it difficult?
Yes, of course. So now it's easy because it's done. But of course, this is a very difficult process, especially due to this part being fully monocoque. So the mold that we have to design and to produce is pretty unique. There are a lot of companies that do it in several parts, but to do it in all at once, it's not an easy process. And also, our team didn't have any kind of experience in carbon fiber whatsoever. So we had to use the know-how of our founding partner, Bike Ahead. So the whole team went to Germany several times. We passed there a lot of time to learn how you place the plies into the mold, and so that's a very handy job to do. So of course we had to learn from scratch, from zero, without having any knowledge of the behavior of carbon fiber. Me and my colleagues, we all come from normally metal business. Steel, aluminum, but this new product for us, new material for us, it's quite fascinating. So we are still learning every day. The construction of the factory, it was like quite fast. So we started in 2019 October, and we have finished in December, November 2020. And in January 2021, we were already producing here and testing our products. So I'm proud to say that today, me and any of my colleagues, we can do one of these here. These ones by our own. So that is the strategy that we have. So we learn first, and then we pass the message or the training to the other colleagues. So that's how we are now passing the know-how to rest of the colleagues and newcomers that come at the moment.
And I'm sure it's a big challenge to do that from the scratch. But now, please, Emery, stay with us a little bit more, and Luis Pedro, stay with us too. Now we are going to listen Kevin Main, CEO of CIE, Cycling Industries Europe. Kevin Main, welcome.
Thank you, and a huge apology on my part for not being here at the start to join the discussion. Good to meet you. Good to meet the colleagues. What I take as my brief from Cycling Industries Europe is nothing from the production experts that you have in Portugal Bike Valley that are on the rest of this call. What I saw from the brief of this session was just to say how in Europe, what are we looking for specifically from manufacturing, and where manufacturing in Europe might have a competitive advantage, particularly in coming years. And particularly when we try and leverage kind of policy and support from governments and from people like the European Union. So assuming I can make this screen share work, I'm just going to pop through a few kind of thoughts on how that works. So you should be able to see, let me see, screen share. Just here. So hopefully you can see me, and just let me know that I'm Cycling Industries Europe. And if you're not actually aware who Cycling Industries Europe is, it's a kind of companies-led umbrella at the European level for the growth side of the industry. We don't deal with the regulatory topics as much, but we're trying to look at everything that enables cycling to grow, from supporting more bike lanes to being a better organized, better structured industry. And I just put up a few of our members on the screen to give you that impression. So what our job is firstly to represent the industry when it comes to anything on policy, and you see some of the key topics. And then it's to provide expert platforms. And the expert platforms, some you'll have heard of, whether it's our cargo bike programs or our market intelligence work or our kind of sustainability platform. And right now, we are just launching a project in the space of the European supply chain, which is very much why I wanted to talk to you today, because we're all aware of some issues in the European supply chain, but I think we should be aware of substantial opportunities if we turn manufacturing to a competitive advantage. And that's my point. I think it has four elements. I think the market wants us to do this. I think policymakers want us to do more on this. And then there's opportunity for investments and in working together. Underpinning everything is kind of the potential growth that's in the industry. I mean, we believe with our partners that we could grow cycling to 30 million units a year by 2030. Now, that's in a market that's largely been static for a long time, around the kind of 20 million window. And there's so many policy reasons, and above all, the change with COVID. And everybody listening to this will know that from the pressure on your factories and the pressure to supply. So simply, manufacturing capacity is needed. Second reason is actually, the bike is no longer a bike. The bike is a platform. It's a platform for an electric motor. It's a platform for goods. It's a platform for sharing and digital services and for a whole range of other things. And that means a lot of new innovation, but also new competences that are needed. And, not all of those competences are currently in Europe, but many of them are. And Europe has led on manufacturing particularly for e-bikes. And, there are huge opportunities in the bike no longer just being a commodity. And I take that further because everything tells us that it's the high added value models with high technical content. The cargo bike segment has come from nowhere and it's growing at, we're having arguments about whether it's grown 50% or 60% in the last 12 months, but no other category. And these are categories that can sell for 15,000 euros per unit. So, the customer is no longer looking for rock bottom pricing. They're looking for technical excellence. And there's more of this to come because the European Union wants to spend more on growing cycling. European Union's Green Deal says not only that, but industries have to be smarter in the way they deliver. We can't just rely on the bikes being green. And so there are many other opportunities to promote manufacturing in Europe through the EU's national, regional, and city plans. But I come back to supply chain. This is what our members told us. Currently, 85% of CIE's members have got supply chain challenges, which will be with us for at least 6 months. So very, very significant. And, the biggest challenges are on components, and the components coming from outside Europe. Other areas, assemble bikes to an extent, but anything that has got a kind of branded or technical element, and I go back to the high added value, is under pressure. So why do we think we should do something about this now? Well, it is the number one issue in the industry, but it's become political. The EU and governments and cities are actually turning up to our meetings and our video conferences saying, where are the bikes? But they're also saying, how can we help? Can we help you bring manufacturing to Europe? Because we're going to lose 100,000 jobs in automotive. High quality engineering jobs are going to disappear. There's a decline in jobs in other traditional industries. And we, as the EU, would really like to support this kind of transition of industry towards a more digital, smarter, and European manufacturing-based industry. So we're looking now at the data. We're looking at the weaknesses. And we believe there's a way forward where there should be a roadmap for manufacturing in Europe and for European industrial growth, and actually telling not only governments but even private investors where they should spend their money. And this roadmap we're working on now, we would expect it to be a project of about 9 months, so probably fully in place in the new year, to give a map for all kinds of performances. And I have to say, colleagues, Portugal, White Valley, you are our success story. And, we believe you provide a blueprint for what many other regions could do. But what's going to be in there? And this is when I come back to manufacturing as a kind of European championship lead. It's no longer just about selling the bikes and building bike lanes. And look what the policies are asking for. They're asking for complete transparency in the process from one end to another. They're looking for digitalization. They call it Industry 4.0, so that every component can be tracked. We know the supply chains have got to be more responsive, and Made in Europe has the label kind of European champions, not European champions of football, but European champions of industry. And that means seeking out industries that can replace manufacturing jobs, particularly metalworking jobs. And I think, with colleagues who've talked about frame production and these issues, same metal skills and many similar metal skills, if not more skilled, as we work in areas like carbon fiber. They're searching for industries, they're searching for innovators, and I keep hearing phrases like smart supply chains. And a smart supply chain can mean the whole of Europe, can mean from Portugal to supply to the Nordic region or France or Germany, if we can show that our supply chain can be smartened up and deliver a lot of European goals. So my summary would be manufacturing can drive this, and there are the key factors that will make, the secrets of success for manufacturing that I believe we'll see from the policy side. Number one is very, very simple. We just need more. And we'd like to see more of that in Europe. And we'd like to see the trend, for example, the e-bike, where there is more European manufacture, both of components and of bikes and of assembly. Secondly, the European success will come from added value. It will come from quality. It will come from quality and from the fact that the customers actually want more quality, higher value bikes. And very interestingly, the more we see service companies and finance companies doing things like leasing, they're interested in total cost of ownership. They're interested in reliability, performance, recycling, and a relationship with providers who can provide a complete package. And of course, there must be much, much more to go in material and product innovation. A lot of our products have got a long way to go before they're green enough. Sustainability will underpin this. Total understand the product you make, where does it end? Where does it finish up? Will it come back to you and be recycled? Do you know its disposal? Will you provide a product that can be traced from the raw materials coming into your factory to the moment it's disposed of? And we will see innovation on the raw materials and batteries and other components. And lastly, it will be about collaboration. We're not going to get 50% growth in Europe unless there's collaboration along the entire supply chain. And clusters, and I think, again, Portugal Bike Valley is a model, but others, Mountain Bike Centre of Scotland, the Innovia Centre in Italy, there are motion labs in Germany. There are beginnings of more incubators and clusters in Europe, which we can build on. So I just say, look, each company, each region can follow, and I'm sure Portugal Bike Valley, you are a blueprint for us. But from us at the international level, we need in our roadmap to 2030, we need Portugal Bike Valley, we need the companies to kind of join the team. Because if we're going to talk about a European story and our roadmap to 30 million units, possibly more, if all conditions are right, we could go to 40 million, which would double our industry. And we need every component you can give us. We need to hear about your investments. We need those stories properly told at the European level. So everything you've said in this series of conferences, we want to pick up. Job creation, clusters, your innovation in process as well as your innovation in process. Where do you find your workforce? Have you found the people to do this work, and what can we learn in other regions? How can we deal with the raw materials that are perhaps even more under stress and we can't find, and can we produce them in Europe? And that we can prove sustainability. But if we can tell that story in a manufacturing context, we fundamentally believe this could be supported not only by your customers, but by governments, the EU, and we've seen more private investment in cycling than we've seen in generations. And there are investors queuing up to go in a winning industry. So, manufacturing competitive advantage is such a key part of our European mission that I invite you just to get in touch with me, to ask me questions now, to come through Portugal Bike Valley and talk to us. But please get on the team, because this is not just a Portugal team. This is a European team. Thank you, and happy to take any questions.
Thanks, Kevin, for your presentation. And there's something that I took note when you said that Portugal Bike Value is a blueprint for the industry. And
Sure.
It's this and that, because many times who's outside our country can see better what we are doing. Thank you very much for it. For the persons who are watching us, if you have any questions, be welcome to put them. I think I have something here. Yes, someone is asking, the growth is, how can I say, we are facing the growth, and how can we, Portugal, contribute to that in Europe?
Well, I think, let's face it, continue on the path you're on to an extent. And I'm sure colleagues might ask, how you're scaling up capacity. But, we need capacity, but I think we need to be sensitive to, which components, which parts of the bike, which parts of the supply chain. And don't just add capacity blindly. Begin to build for this industry 4.0. Begin to build for sustainability. Because actually, even if that doesn't take off today, that will be what will be asked for in the next 5 years. and you want to return on your investment as companies and as a region. So yes, it's capacity, but it's got to be smart capacity.
So the growth is not a trend; it's a reality nowadays.
I mean, the numbers you've seen in the last 12 months. I mean, 2020 figures for the whole of Europe are plus 20%. And that's really, in most countries, that's 20% growth in the year, but on only 9 months sales because of the shutdowns and the factory closures. So and many countries said it would have been much higher if they hadn't had, sort of trouble getting product. And that comes from the fact cities spent €1 billion. Well, I can tell you today, the European Union has just released €2 billion more for cycling in its European recovery plans. So if you think this growth came off the back of $1 billion spent on cycling infrastructure, just start imagining that, the growth to 2025 is already in the pipe.
Thank you very much.
I have one question for
Yes.
Kevin. So Kevin, this is Emre, General Manager for Carbon Team. So we started our business like we are now producing carbon fiber parts, frames since the beginning of this year. I'm really surprised to see your presentation, and very well explained, very nice presentation, and thank you for that. You should have seen also our presentations because the two companies are fully focused in this Industry 4.0 subject. That is at our core. Okay, so we are. Sorry, do you see me?
You just disappeared, but
okay.
There we go.
Yeah, sorry. So both companies, Triangles and the Carbon Team, is both. We are focused in Industry 4.0. We are doing things different than how it's made in Asia. We definitely have better quality and better product. But at the end, the customer says like, okay, I'm buying in Asia, like this is the price, and okay, you have extremely good quality. You have all the fundamentals of Industry 4.0 that we are looking for, both in terms of traceability of your product and so on. But at the end, they look, okay, so we have to go like high-end products with you because of course we know that our product is different, and that's where more value added, just like you said. I mean, at the end, everyone is looking for the cost,
Yeah, but I think things have changed and are changing. I mean, it's no good arguing on cost when the product doesn't exist. That's the first thing. And so, we've struggled as a sector just to grow by 20%. And we're talking about growing up to 20 to 30 million units. And we know there's a bit of investment going into some extent in Asia, but a lot of the people in Asia are still convinced this is a bubble. So, there's bets being taken, if you like, on, will it be a bubble? Because they had a bubble when they built all these cheap bikes for bike share. And so I believe there is going to be pressure on the system. And I think the other point is that right now, things like the traceability, the sustainability, the 4.0 are kind of options. And of course, you can say, yeah, you've got all those things, but I don't really need them. But when the pressure comes further, that you struggle, you have to add cost to your product because you can't, you can't dispose of it. Or you add cost to your product because consumers are saying, we want to know the origin of your materials. We're in the middle of that transition, and it's not there today. And there's a big chunk of the bike industry that's still working on what I would say the old model. What I'm trying to flag is I genuinely believe in the transition, and our members genuinely believe in the transition.
Okay, thank you.
Luis Pedro, do you have any question? Your microphone is not connected. Luis Pedro, we can't listen to you.
Again.
Okay, now.
Okay, now we can.
And now I have already know what I need to do in order to turn on the microphone. No, I don't have any further question, and thank you to Kevin to the presentation. It was very well explained and show us the right numbers and the trends for the coming years till 2030. So it looks like that.
I think for
will increase.
Luis Pedro,
Yeah.
and really responding to you, maybe we're not doing a good enough job telling your story, because if you are doing all these things, and we don't always hear and see it. A lot of people rely just on reading Bike Europe, but of course none of the politicians, none of the funding agencies, none of the investors are reading Bike Europe. They're actually looking to get the story told on what's going on. And certainly that's one of the reasons for starting a supply chain project at CIE, is because we realize we're not doing enough to tell the manufacturing story. We've told the sales story, and we've told the bike lane story, and we've told about the new financial models like leasing, but we haven't done enough on manufacturing. And that's to some extent, I think it's both of us. We need to be stronger on actually getting manufacturing stories from companies, and we need to be stronger at getting manufacturing stories from organizations like Abimota. So and that's when I said at the end of my presentation, join the team. We really have got to get the stories up to a much higher level.
So thank you very much to you all for being with us. Thank you very much for you who's been watching and listening to this conversation and this panel. And of course, it was a nice talk. I think it was 3 great presentations. And tomorrow we'll be again with you at 10 o'clock Portuguese time, local time. And so see you tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Thank you.